Yeah, excited about A-Day weekend. There's a lot going on campus, so we're been on the road 2 of these first 3 weeks. It's going to be awesome to be back home for this weekend, next week, and try to make the most out of trying to scratch and claw and try to get back in the middle of things in this league. So looking forward to our fans. Like our last game with Arkansas was pretty amazing, and you just feel like a lot of people are ascending on Auburn this weekend to come back and be part of A-Day, and so much going on around campus that I think that'll make Plainsman Park pretty hopping place this weekend.
Butch, obviously, starting out of the gate has been an issue. How do you handle pitching heading into this weekend? I know depth is a strength. Do you try to lean on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think that's exactly where we're at, and you know. We've all year long we've announced 3 starters and been straightforward. We feel like we respect the game, respect everybody, but I think this is one of those to where we put all of our pitchers together, and I've never meant when I say 1 inning, 1 pitch more than ever than what we'll do. I think Watts is a guy that we'll put out there to start tomorrow, and he's a guy that we know that can throw 2 times a weekend. We started unveiling more of that last weekend with a few guys, so you got some guys that absolutely now can get into throwing 2 times a weekend, and I think we'll just try to find a recipe. And I think after playing 1 game, we might have a better feel of, who can get us started, what's the matchups, different parts of the lineup. So we'll do a good job of letting our opponent know right after the ball game, who we'll start with the next day to be respectful from that standpoint. But this is more of us. We've gone back this week, and players have come back through and tried to get back to, like, this is my identity, this is who I am, and that's kind of the hope that I have about the ball club. Is I think everybody's continued to work and find strategies instead of moping or laying around or wallowing in this deal. I think we're taking some steps that'll absolutely be good for us, and I just didn't want, especially I think also Gonzalez to feel the weight of the world, and if our strength is in the percentage or how many guys we have back, let's put them all together and see if we can chop it up. I think SEC averages about 4 2/3 a start for even the best teams for everybody. And so we're a little bit shy of that right now, of course. So we're going to take a different approach to maybe like you see in the midweeks where, you use 5 or 6 guys and don't feel bad about it and think that might be a recipe to find yourself again as a pitching staff. So I'm trying to think of this weekend as strength in numbers to put a title to your question there, and I couldn't agree with you more, and I think that's where we're at. And I think it's healthy, and I think it's the right move, and I think now's the time to implement.
Coach, going back to Watts, would you like him to maybe get through the order once and then move on to the next guy, or what would you like to see out of him for that first start?
Win the first inning, and if you can go out for 1 inning and win it 1, then you get a second. So I'm thinking 11. Go get 1 inning and do it well, and then you can get a second and a third, and we'll see how that goes. I think we're really comfortable with him for 3 innings is what we've seen. If he squeeze some more out of that would be awesome. If he's one time through the lineup and then we absolutely make a change there, that'll be okay too. I do like the resilience in his arm. He threw twice last week, I think midweek, through game 2 against A&M, and once that thing went extra innings and you had to cover more, I think he was willing to come in a 3rd time. So last night was good for us. I think Parker Carlson was one of the guys, if you think of the 7 or 8 guys that you need the most on a weekend. He got us out of a big bases-loaded jam last night. But other than that, I thought, some guys, again, Petrovic, I think it was Crotchfeld, Murphy, did a nice job for us to keep, the guys that we really need to step up to the plate. We need to get Bauman going again. If he can't give us 2 or 3 innings a weekend, that makes it more challenging for us. But I just want everybody to get reset. We're one pitching staff. Whoever's on the mound at that time is our number 1 pitcher. Let's get behind that. Let's not forecast or hope for anything. Let's just take it an inning at a time, and whether Watts just goes crazy and gets us, more innings than we think, we'll do that. If it's chopped up and we think, it's game time early and keep giving him different looks is the way to go, then maybe he could help us a second time on the weekend. But his resilience is we at least need to name somebody to get us started, and that's why we went with Dylan Watts.
Butch, with the starting pitching approach, I mean, you've had a pretty lengthy career as a pitching coach. Have you ever encountered this sort of setup or tried this setup with a staff before? And then I guess just second part of that, what does it say about this staff that you're willing to head into an SEC weekend series and maybe try a little more of the by committee approach, so to speak?
Yeah. I think it's probably happened 20 of the 23 years I've been in the league that you get to this stage. It happens it feels like the last 2 years at the very front of the season. You know, our deal was Alsop is a guy that, you know, I still believe in, and maybe if people don't prepare for him as much, he still could get a start this weekend. So I want to make sure I'm checking myself here. There's still I still see a path where he could get a start this weekend, and Joseph could. But maybe they would be better throwing the 6th and the 7th inning and give us 2 innings and not feel the weight of the world. But our recipe, if as much as I still like our club, and really nobody's done anything wrong, we probably, especially the 2 road SEC series, we hadn't pitched competitively enough because I know I thought the last game at Vanderbilt and all 3 at A&M that we had a chance to win every one of those ball games. But Alsop and Gonzalez would have had to be, you know, and we know Gonzalez is trying to come back and get back, but the time's kind of now in some regards to hook something up and get it going. I still think both those guys could have a chance to be they'll be on the 27-man. So we'll have every intention of those guys potentially factoring in. I guess they both still could start, but I would expect them to probably throw it somewhere in the middle for us, and just see if somebody can step up, somebody can do something amazing. Because I do think it's a tough draw of like, who's it going to be, you know? And in all honesty, right now, I don't even know. I just know Watts is going to get us started on Friday, and I'm good with it. It's happened every single year. This is how we found Tommy Vale last year at Florida. We did Cannon. He went about 5 innings. We won a game. We're up 8-3, I think, on game 3 at Florida. But we found Vale that day, and he wound up pitching those last 5 weekends better than any pitcher in the league last year. So it may be an opportunity, but I want the guys to feel like it's strength in numbers instead of somebody having to flip the lineup 3 times or have that expectation or that weight on them. I'm good if we bring in a different pitcher every time. I've heard Ike's in the room. I've heard these guys talk about, man, sometimes it's more challenging for them when they got to see a new guy every night, like on some of these midweek things. We need to take a look at something else before we start breeding insanity of doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So we're on a hunt to like staying with them, believing them. I still think Alsop and Gonzalez can help us, but we need to go find ourselves a little bit more. And that's, like I said, I think that's happened about 20 of the years I've coached in this amazing league. And it's unorthodox, and almost what's so amazing about this league is it's almost normal to get to this point.
Coach Eric, is it Guevara?
Yep.
Right? And he got his first start, and then Cade Bellew, is that right?
Bellew.
It seems like his bat's coming around. Are those 2 guys that could figure into the lineup a little bit more this weekend?
Yeah, I think we're pretty committed to Guevara once we felt like that he had a chance to play. I think he got a pinch hit last week. Now, he wasn't released until Monday. Of course, we didn't get to play Tuesday. We got to play last night, and he got to start. He hit a ball hard to right field. I think he walked. He got on a chopper, I think, shallow 6-hole that he was able to make it out. Made a great play that he ranged in front of Weiss. Again, coming through the 6-hole shallow, made a play at first. Dropped a pop-up. But we'll have to see how he feels today. Where does he factor into this weekend? So we've seen him play a game. We're going to commit to him, and I think it's the right thing to do. I think he's a heck of a ball player. I think our staff and players think he can help us. That was huge for him getting a game last night, and we need to see it practice today, how he feels, how he bounces back, and can he play every other day? Where's his breaks going to be needed? We'll start learning that today to see how he bounced back from last night. Cade Ballou, I think, was a spark in the ball game last night. I think in the same inning he hit 2 doubles, and that first time he came off the bench and hit a big double. Pierce hit a home run. That's huge. And we've been competing really good with our offense and defense has played good enough to help us do a little bit more, and they've stayed engaged. And Ballou's just it's a big bat. It's a very athletic. We absolutely have respect for the potential that he has, and he's starting to do a little damage. Had a huge pinch hit single the other night against A&M. He's banged the ball, so he's into 3 or 4 doubles and a home run and a pinch hit at bat in the last few times he's gotten in there. So just whenever that happens, you'll see a guy earn more. And there's so many older players playing in this league, but we think Ballou and Guevara have a great future in our program. And right now, we're going to keep committing to Guevara. And Ballou seems to have a hot hand right now of being able to come into a ball game and impact it. So the future's now for those 2 guys right now, and I think they have some type of role, or we feel like we want to get them involved in what we're doing currently.